Good afternoon. I'm Father John Cusick, and let me say Happy New Year. This is the First Friday Club. Way back in the last century, we created this in 1986, and we've gathered on the first Friday of the month from October through May, with usually one exception, and today is that exception. In January, we usually target the second Friday because the first Friday this year was actually New Year's Day. And so we're thrilled that so many of you, nearly, I think, 200, are with us virtually today as we continue this wonderful season of the First Friday Club. So it's my joy to thank you very much for being with us. They say in these parts, this Northern Hemisphere in Illinois and Wisconsin, I'm in Wisconsin, most of you are probably in Illinois or parts beyond, that it's usually a very quiet time of the year. Well, we've had ourselves a very interesting first week of 2021. With that being said, it's always my joy to be able to offer a little bit of a prayer to get this session started, and amazingly, in the beginning of January, to kick off this year, hopefully in a positive note. So I'm going to invite us into a moment of silence. In a very busy world, a moment of quiet probably never hurt anybody. Is there something you want to put in the hands of your higher power, your God, as we journey from today, January 8th, to the rest of 2021? So that being said, if we take a little moment of peace and quiet, and then I'll offer a bit of a prayer. So let us pray. Gracious God, with what we've seen with our eyes and heard with our ears the last several days, perhaps the agenda has been laid out clearly before us. We have to find a way to bridge division. We have to find a way to activate peaceful reactions between human beings. We have to find a way to let compassion overcome rage. We have to find a way to end violence in all of its forms. And we have to find a way to cooperate with one another as the American political system transfers peacefully and transparently from one administration to another. Help us to do our part, as little as it can be, to help that to occur. Help us be the women and men of compassion and peace. Help us learn to forgive. Oof, that's a hard one this time of the year, but so much infighting and bitterness. But Lord, we got to go there. And help us to realize that love has no end. We put today, the second Friday of January, and we put this year, 2021, in your hands, and help us to open our hands to walk with you throughout this entire year, and give us the guts and the courage to do your will. Amen. I'd like to pass the proverbial baton to Dr. Roseanne Rosenthal. There she is, who's going to introduce our speaker today, our topic, and I think everybody's in for a wonderful, wonderful time. I'm so excited about today. Thank you.
Thank you, Father Cusick. This afternoon, it's my great honor to introduce you to our special guest, Dr. Mary Ellen Caron, who serves as Chief Executive Officer of After School Matters. This is one of the nation's largest and most successful providers of after school and summer program opportunities for high school teens. After School Matters is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year and is a remarkable success story. The idea for After School Matters was dreamed up by Chicago's First Lady, Maggie Daley, in 1991, with 260 kids making art intense. 21 years later, in 2012, Dr. Caron accepted the CEO position and immediately began infusing it with her passion for Chicago youth, particularly those who are under-resourced. Under her leadership, After School Matters has grown from those 260 kids making art in a tent to thousands of teens making music, dancing, and learning to be leaders in and throughout Chicago's neighborhood. Also under Dr. Caron's leadership, After School Matters financial reserves and philanthropic support has grown. She's implemented systems-wide program quality standards. The organization has even taken ownership of and redeveloped a property in the Belmont-Cragen community to turn it into a teen-dedicated programming facility. Dr. Caron is a fierce advocate for the importance of youth development and the unlimited potential of teenagers throughout Chicago and beyond. Perhaps her most important contributions are the many lives that have been transformed because of After School Matters. This program has unleashed the talents of our city's teens and given them a head start on a career that they could only have imagined for themselves before becoming part of After School Matters. Dr. Caron is a true Chicago treasure. She has served as Commissioner of Chicago's Department of Family and Support Services, Commissioner of the Chicago Department of Children and Youth Services. She's been a member of the Chicago School Board and served as Special Assistant to CEO Arnie Duncan. She was founding principal of Francis Xavier Ward Elementary School and was an elementary school teacher herself. Dr. Caron's work on behalf of teens and youth has made Chicago a better place for all of us. She is here with us today to tell you about how it all began with Kids on a Couch, the amazing story of After School Matters. At the end of Dr. Caron's presentation, we will have time for questions, and we invite you to submit your questions anytime using the Q&A button, not the chat. So, Dr. Caron, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the First Friday Club. Thank you for being with us today. It's all yours.
It's a pleasure for me to be here today with all of you. And John, I just want to thank you. We have been puzzling through how to help teenagers understand and work through the issues of the last few days. And so I really appreciate the moment of silence and the prayer. What I'm going to do today is give you a brief history of After School Matters, how it grew over 30 years, and how we adapted to remote learning during the pandemic. I'll tell you a little bit about the wild summer of 2020, and I'm going to end with some statistics. Then I'm going to introduce two of our ASM alums, Sierra J. Evans and JJ Rivera-Regay, who will talk about After School Matters in a Q&A with Roseanne Rosenthal. We invited alums today because we would love to have our own teenagers, but because of the time, we really don't want to take high school students out of school during school time. But these alums will capture everything we need to know carefully. So I'll start with the story. Maggie Daley often told the story of observing her two children, teenagers at the time, how they were sitting on the couch watching TV during the summer, and she was realizing how hard it was to find activities for teenagers to keep them busy during the after school hours in summer. She said to herself, if that's what I'm facing, and she's the mayor's wife, what's happening to those who are under-resourced or don't have the money to pay for activities? From that question, an innovative program for teens was born, and that is After School Matters. However, it started out as Gallery 37. Just so everyone knows, there was a name change as time went on. Maggie and a group of supporters reimagined an empty lot actually across from City Hall, which was called Lot 37. So they named it Chicago Gallery 37, and it was an arts program that would employ professional artists to teach Chicago teens while paying the teens a stipend for their participation. Maggie was also looking for a way to keep artists in Chicago so they wouldn't move on to other places. The inspiration for Gallery 37 was really born out of the WPA projects from the Great Depression. And that project employed artists to create works of art on public buildings. I'm sure many of you have seen many of them around the country. On Block 37, that first summer in 1991, 260 teens apprenticed with professional artists, and the teens earned a monetary stipend for their work. The program was very, very popular and successful with teens who were eager to learn from caring adults who were experts in their field. Just so you know, sports programming was quickly added when CPS decreased arts and sports programming for high school students in the 90s. What started out as Gallery 37 was officially named After School Matters around 2000. 30 years later, in 2021, After School Matters will provide 20,000 teens over 26,000 unique opportunities during after school time and summer, and it'll be in every corner and zip code of Chicago. When Maggie died, as Roseanne said, I took over as CEO in 2012, but Maggie died in 2011, and many thought that After School Matters would not continue. Nora Daley, Maggie's daughter, and I approached Melody Hobson to serve as the board chair. Melody, in true Melody style, not only did she agree to do so, but she has served as a catalyst for growth. She deserves much of the credit for the tremendous growth that we have experienced over the last few years. We went from providing 18,000 opportunities for teens each year to 26,000 opportunities now. Since that first summer in 1991, After School Matters has engaged more than 35,000 Chicago teens and now serves as one of the nation's largest and most successful providers of after-school and summer programs for high school students. And I say that over and over because many times people think that we are working with students from maybe 5 years old all the way through. We really have stayed with high school teens because, as Maggie learned, there wasn't a lot out there for them. We've built a model for Chicago and all its communities, and it takes a really fresh perspective on youth engagement and development. We know schools alone can't provide Chicago teens with all the resources and opportunities they need. We step in to help them discover and develop their passions and interests, whether it's in robotics or painting or boxing or journalism. We believe that Chicago Public Schools cannot do it without After School Matters. And I really want to just say at this time, many families, middle class and upper middle class, spend $8,000 to $11,000 beyond school for after school and summer activities for their teenagers. So the fact that the city of Chicago has After School Matters to provide it for those who cannot afford those programs has really been a great gift to our city. Two very important things for us in our youth development model is teen voice and choice. We do everything listening to what the teenagers have to say. And I'll tell you later about when we went to work with architects to remodel a building. We really had the teenagers work with those architects to hear what teens wanted to know and wanted to see in a building. We don't have a curriculum. We provide a framework for our instructors, and then the teens and the instructor build a syllabus together. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our program models and our partnerships. We run programs out of 4 core areas, and you can see those on the screen right now. The first one is arts, It's performing arts, visual arts, culinary arts, and you can see examples of that, but there are hundreds of examples of arts programs that we have at After School Matters. As I said earlier, we added sports, and we really tried to include some things that maybe weren't in a high school curriculum, like sports instruction. Some of our teens take our sports instruction program, and then they become summer workers in the park district because they have had that background. We also have stadium management, health and wellness, and sports related certification. You can also see some of the other things, basketball officiating. We have a myriad of sports activities. We've added STEM programs in the last 6 years because we really wanted to make sure that our teens were experiencing everything they possibly could around the STEM movement that has happened in education. And so we have applied science, natural science, we have audio and visual technology, we have industrial and informational technologies. We have everything from computer programming to astronomy. And we're finding that our girls, in the hands-on approach that we take to learning, have really come around in the science world. Communication and leadership is our last core area. That's business, journalism, marketing, media, and social science. We've done a lot with public speaking, as well as helping young people understand civics in that core area. So let me tell you a little bit about After School Matters and how we do our work. We're built on a network of partnerships, and we've built those partnerships over the last 30 years. I know many of you have had some experience with some of the partnerships with After School Matters. We have every partnership we can possibly get. We partner with all of the museums, and we partner with some for-profit businesses that want to show teenagers what they do. We have a lot of experience with working with other groups to teach them how to really work with teenagers. We have individual instructors who are part-time employers of After School Matters. These instructors, again, are experts in their field, and they run programs in the park districts, in public libraries, and in 95 Chicago public high schools. We also work with a network of community-based organizations. These partnerships with the community-based organizations are in neighborhoods across the city. It allows us to support local institutions while we further our reach. It's not just ASM coming in as this big organization into a community, but it's ASM as a partner with groups who are already serving teens in the neighborhood. And some of these organizations have had these children since they were 5 or 6. And then when they go to high school, they go into After School Matters programs. I'll give you a couple of examples of these programs. We have Westtown Bikes in Westtown. We have a program called the Business of Music in Garfield Park. And SGA Youth and Family Services runs a program called El Varte, which is bilingual, and they run 4 programs in Dvorak Park and Pilsen. Often with these organizations, we negotiate with the park district or the schools to get space in a particular neighborhood. In the case of Westtown Bikes, we actually have our program in their bike shop. So that's just a little bit about how we are throughout the entire city. We actually have programs everywhere, and that's as a result of not only schools, libraries, and parks, but it's also a result of community-based organizations. And sometimes neighborhoods become under-resourced and may not have a lot of community-based organizations, and we work hard to get parks and libraries and schools to open up to us so that we can provide resources. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk about buildings and tell you a little bit about our buildings. So if you look at the slide, Gallery 37 for the Arts is the middle photo. On the left is the Karen Lutz Center, and on the right is our new Gately Park Center. And I just want to orientate you as I begin to speak. So After School Matters never had buildings of their own. In 2000, the city renovated that middle photo. It's a 5-story building across from the Cultural Center, and they renovated into Gallery Center for the Arts. It's now our After School Matters Downtown Center. On your screen, you can see that picture. About 2,000 teens participate in programs throughout a year in that building. But I want to show you a map right now of where those teens come from. This is the map of their homes, and every dot is a teen who comes and participates in programs in our downtown building. As you know, it's really important for teenagers to have a structured way of participating in something downtown, and it really works that they come to that building. In the summer, if you go past 66 East Randolph, you will be in a sea of teenagers. So now if we go back to the other slide, in 2016, a philanthropist woman named Karen Lutz approached us, and she interviewed us, and a few weeks later she called back and said that her husband ran a business in the Belmont-Cragen neighborhood on the northwest side for years, and that building was about to become empty, and that she would like to donate it to After School Matters. It was so exciting. And we opened in 2017. The building we renovated the building, and it provides 4 floors of programming space, including a chef's kitchen for culinary programs, which is the envy of many, many culinary professionals in the city. They have come to see it. We have a dance studio, we have recording booths, and we even have a fashion design studio. We worked with our teens to redesign that building, and it has been a marvelous addition to our After School Matters programming. We use it for everything. As a matter of fact, during the pandemic, we have been using it also to distribute food to families in the community. Now, if you look in the right-hand side, during this remote way, I don't know if it's my right and your left, but anyway, it says After School Matters at Gately Park. In 2018, Melody Hobson was approached by then Mayor Emanuel to help make a new park district, 139,000 square foot track in Pullman, a reality. She agreed to help as long as there would be part of the building that would be made for After School Matters. This Gately building has all the same spaces that are present in the Lutz building. Melody's dedication and generosity has resulted in this state-of-the-art space designed particularly for teenagers on the south side of Chicago. It's in the heart of the Pullman kind of Roseland neighborhood, and it's going to allow teens on the south side to get to that program quickly after school. And in the same building is a state-of-the-art indoor track and field complex. It is absolutely amazing. And anyone who would like a tour once the pandemic is over, I would be happy to personally give you a tour. A little bit about the Park District side. We do not have an indoor track in the Chicago area, and our track students usually run in their hallways of their schools during the winter months. Well, now Chicago has this state-of-the-art track for all to participate in, and it's also known as the fastest track in the Midwest. So You'll be hearing and seeing more about that. Speaking of the pandemic, in March, we did pause our programs for a few minutes, for a few days, to get organized on how to do remote programming. And in some cases, our instructors and our teens particularly, but more importantly, we needed to get our instructors Wi-Fi and computer access if they didn't have it. Many of them stayed in contact with our teens via the telephone, and that really worked also. We ended our spring programming remotely, and our instructors continued to reach out to teens to talk to them so that they knew someone cared about them. It was a little chaotic, but quickly spring became summer. So summer 2020 was like no other for us, for everyone, particularly at After School Matters. We not only had the pandemic, but we also had increased activism and public attention to the systemic racism. This change and the pandemic changed how schools fundamentally worked, but it also changed how we in after school and summer programs fundamentally did our work. The pandemic transformed how organizations coordinate and support programs, how the adults design, staff, and implement programs, and how young people and their families participate and experience learning. And as you well know, this is still going on. In response to the pandemic, After School Matters engaged in widespread planning and participation efforts in order to move from in-person to online programming. We re-envisioned summer session. We provided more than 200 different remote learning programs to nearly 10,000 teens in Chicago. Remote programs offered a combination. So we usually had the teens, that's our sweet spot in the summer. We have teens for 5 days a week, 4 hours a day. We had to quickly figure out how to move to a different setup. We could not keep teens on their computers for 4 hours a day. It just doesn't work. And we're hands-on learning. So they have one-on-one time with instructors. They have group collaboration, and they have individual work time so that they can achieve their projects. Since program meeting occurred online, we had 3 to 5 days a week, and we used Google Suites, which is the platform that the Chicago Public Schools use, so that we could help teens get used to that, because when the school year began, they would be on Google Suites, as they still are. This is one of the big things. We delivered 5,000 supply packets to the teenagers across the city. It was an amazing feat, and our staff just really cares about our teenagers. And so we delivered yoga mats, and we delivered art supplies, and we delivered everything that you can imagine under the sun. One of the things that we really work to do at After School Matters is to make sure that our young people have state-of-the-art supplies. Sometimes they are in schools where some of their equipment is old, and so we want to make sure that they always have state-of-the-art supplies. We also had to make sure that they had computers, and CPS did a great job of making sure that there were devices in most of the families' homes, but we did have to provide about 1,000 devices to young people. Because of the pandemic, we were learning, and teenagers were telling us that they were hungry and that their families were hungry. And so we quickly started distributing meals. To date, we have distributed about 160 meals to our families and people particularly throughout the Belmont, Cragen, and the Northwest Side area. So after summer, we always survey our teens after every session. 79% of our teens said that they hoped that After School Matters helped them cope safely with difficult emotions during the pandemic. And 85% said other teens in their program made them feel like they belong. And that, as an educator, many of you know, that's one of the things you worry about, that teens will, particularly teenagers, will feel belongingness. It's part of learning, it's part of living. And so we were very happy with that statistic. I personally, and all of us collectively, are very proud of what we accomplished over the summer. We have a quick little sizzle to show you. It's called a sizzle, sizzle reel, to show you just exactly what some of summer looked like. I want you to know that I saw teenagers who made their background a shower curtain, and it was awesome. The creativity of teenagers is amazing. So one of the things I want you to know about After School Matters is for every program opportunity, at least 2 teens apply. For example, we had 10,000 teen opportunities last summer, 20,000 applied. So Melody, the board, all of us at After School Matters are always trying to figure out ways to offer more programming. What Melody and I really would like to have that number be much lower. We do not want to turn away 10,000 teens in the summer. I'm going to give you a few more statistics. What you have on the screen right now, those dots are everywhere where our programs are located. So that's, as you can see, we're in every corner of the city. 96% of our teens identify as youth of color, and they're divided up on this race and ethnicity slide. 96% of our teens are of color, and 54% of them are African American, 35 are Latinx, and then there's a mix of others. Approximately 44% are male and 55% are female. 82 live in the high poverty communities, and 82% qualify for free lunch. When we're looking at academic impact, which is what we want to look at, we want to make sure that we are a partner to CPS and we are increasing academic performance and education every step of the way. When we look at our impact compared to teens who do not participate in After School Matters, we consistently see stronger freshmen on track rates, 91%. This is an indicator of how well a teen is going to do and if they are going to graduate from high school. We see higher school attendance rates, fewer school day absences. We see higher graduation rates. 92% of our seniors graduated in 2019. And 3 out of 4 After School Matters teens are enrolled in college when they leave our summer programming. As I said before, we conduct pre and post surveys on our teens. They consistently report the teens can report an increase in 21st century skills. These are soft skills. These are the kinds of things that everyone talks about, making sure that young people, particularly teenagers, have. Our teens tell us that their leadership skills have increased, their collaboration skills, problem solving, public speaking, and planning for success. So this means that while they are pursuing their passion for art or music or cooking or astronomy or whatever else it is, they're also learning valuable skills to help them be successful, no matter what they do after high school or college. One of the things that people tell me often is they never met somebody from After School Matters who didn't look you directly in the eye and give you a really strong handshake. Sierra and JJ can probably tell you a little bit more about that in a minute, but we're really proud that our young people are treated as professionals doing work, and so they get to learn all that comes along with that. The other thing I wanted you to know is that we provide professional development throughout the year to our instructors. This past summer, we had a professional development program and 4,000 instructors participated. If those instructors are also certified teachers, they can earn CPUs, or those are credits toward their certification, by participating in our After School Matters professional development programs. One of the things that we will keep from from the pandemic is that we will continue to have remote professional development, because it really works out for the instructors to be able to turn on their computer and not have to travel. And we tape those professional development segments, and so they can look at them again and again or at different times. These are I'm sorry. So if you look at that, I've finished this slide. I just want to talk about a few other things. One is that our stipends, that was genius of Maggie Daley early on. It's core to our program model. It lowers the barriers for participation, and it reinforces for the teens their dedication and hard work in programs. It empowers them, and it reinforces their time and their effort. And it makes a tremendous impact on the teens and their families and their communities. This summer alone, we spent $5.1 million on teen stipends and $2.1 million on instructor pay. This all goes back into the communities in the economies across Chicago, where the teens and the instructors live. During the pandemic, and really before the pandemic, we heard from teens that stipends were crucial to their families. Many parents have now lost jobs, and 74% this summer used their stipend to meet some basic needs of the family. I think we're really proud of that. It's not enough by any means, but we have gotten thank you notes from parents and teens that said that they don't know what they would have done without the stipend this summer. So I'm going to end by saying that we're committed to moving forward after 30 years. We want to return to in-person programming. We know out-of-school time hours can be very dangerous hours for teenagers. So we're going to continue to provide teens with safe year-round space so that they can discover their passions and skills that will help them succeed in college and beyond. Almost 90% of our teens said that they see their program as a safe space, and 87% said they felt supported by their instructors during remote programming, but also during regular programming when we're in person. So as a result of all this, in 2021, we plan to reopen and go back to in-person programming safely. And we're also going to continue some of our remote programming. We're going to work to achieve greater racial equity across the board. And we are looking forward to opening our Gately building. That's going to be a very big deal for us. And again, I invite anyone who would like a tour to come and see the Park District side as well as our side. So now it's my pleasure to introduce two of our alums, Sierra J. Evans and JJ Rivera Regway. And let me just say, I met Sierra when she was a sophomore in high school. Her mom tapped me outside of her program. She had come home from Washington, D.C. after going through some pretty extensive health issues. And I brought Sierra's mom in to see her in her program. And from that day on, Sierra and I have been connected at the hip. Also, JJ, I met JJ before this, but last year in November, we took a group of teens to Milan, Italy, and they performed throughout the city of Milan. They were a huge hit. JJ in particular was a really big hit. And so part of what my job is to meet these wonderful young people and to keep in touch with them as they move forward in their life. So they're going to offer you some of their background, where they are now, and then they're going to talk with Roseanne about After School Matters programs and what After School Matters programs did for them.
Thank you so much for that introduction for both JJ and I. A little bit about myself. Yes, hello, I am Sierra J. Evans. I major in screenwriting and animation. I attend Morgan State University, which is an HBCU in Baltimore, Maryland. I minor in entrepreneurship, and this is my senior year. I will be 3 years and done, so very excited about that. I was an After School Matters teen, and now I'm working for them as an After School Matters adult. My interning went from a summer to a year, so it's been great, very exciting, and that's just a little bit about myself.
Hi, my name is JJ Rivera Ragway, and I am a freshman in college, actually, and I go to the School of Theater and Music, and my major is in music and jazz studies as a vocal performer. And yes, I was recently like an after schools alum. My last summer was actually in the summer of 2020, so I was able to experience that remote kind of platform that we had recently, but otherwise I'm really honored to be here.
I have a few questions for both of you, Sierra and JJ. First of all, what drew you to After School Matters, and how did you get connected with it? And how old were you? So since you're right up there, JJ, how about we start with you?
Oh yeah, perfect. So I was in the 8th grade, and it was the summer when I heard about After School Matters. My older sister, who was just a year older than me, was introducing me to it. She just told me about something that I could do to get paid, that I could do like during the summer. So I was very interested, as you could see, and I was even more interested because I was able to learn something and get paid for it. And specifically in the arts, I was really interested in the arts, even at a younger age. So my first program was just learning something totally new, and it was DJ Foundations. And that was a phenomenal experience for me because I was not only exposed to how After School Matters presented itself and like how I was able to perform and everything, but also just dive in a little bit deeper to what it really means to me. And it was a great experience.
It's great. And Sierra, how would you respond to that? What drew you to After School Matters, and how did you get connected in the first place? How old were you, too? Not the questions.
It was a great discovery for starters. My freshman year of high school, I attended Shy Arts, a performing arts high school here in the city of Chicago. And one of the programs at After School Matters, Forward Momentum Chicago, was taught by Pierre Lockett. He came, he auditioned us at my school. So he's the one who really brought After School Matters into my life and really exposed me to what exactly it was all about. And I just excelled from there. I actually never participated in another program. It was really just Pierre over and over and over. But it was such an exciting experience that really opened my eyes to tons of things besides dance. So really working with After School Matters as well as Pierre was just the right thing that I needed at the right moment.
Oh, what a great story. So what's your favorite memory of your time at After School Matters? You can go first, Sierra.
Okay. Definitely being a part of the gala. I had an amazing time. I got to see everything that goes on behind closed doors with After School Matters, how much work really goes inside of it. Coming from a teen perspective, you know, you only come to class and talk with your people, talk with your friends, you know, talk with your instructors. You have that relationship, but you don't know how much actually goes into it. So after having the opportunity of participating, everyone welcoming me with open arms, teaching me so much, helping me with internships, helping me decide what I want in college. It was just a lot of things that happened at that gala that really made me be like, wow, this is After School Matters, and this is something that I could work with my entire life. It's actually funny, my instructor, Pierre, he called me one day and he was like, I think you're gonna be 50 years old telling people you were an After School Matters team. I agree. I will definitely be 50 years old telling people I was an After School Matters team. It's just an amazing organization, and it's really been with me my entire life, I feel like.
That's great. And JJ, what's your favorite memory?
I have to say it was definitely the experience of going to Italy with Mary Ellen and with the rest of my program. That was an unbelievable experience. I will never be able to experience something quite like that just because it was so unique, and it was just, I'm so blessed to even have been invited among like the selected individuals. But it was just phenomenal to be able to be bonded with my classmates and my peers, and just to be able to experience a whole new side of After School Matters, because before I just never, I guess I just never really felt, I just got to see like what After School Matters could really do, and it was just so great to see, because I was it was like unlimited potential when we reached that point. And the food was great. And I was actually born in Italy, so like I never actually had the opportunity to go there. And so when I went there, just everything just worked out so well, and I made long-term friendships. I'm friends with them till this day, and we still talk, and it was just something I'll never forget.
Oh, what a great story. So one last question for both of you. How do you think After School Matters prepared you for life after high school? How about you go first, JJ?
I would say that After School Matters was the foundation of like my life after high school, because of all the opportunities that I got to perform in After School Matters. They even offered a program, advanced arts, so that I got to be in a program in After School Matters even during school, during CPS, and that led me to a scholarship to go to the school that I'm going to right now, UIC, and in the School of Theater and Music. That is how I got into this school. There is a scout that saw me from the audience, and then he gave my instructor his business card, and then I was able to keep in contact. And then it was just uphill from there, because then I got to really do what I wanted to do. I got to major in music. And then even after that, I just feel that every program that I was in, I got to experience a little. It was I got to be in some leadership roles in like my choir and my dance, and then I got to learn how to speak
Come here.
more, just everything pretty much helped me with just learning more about the direction that I wanted to go in.
It's great. How about you, Sierra? How do you think After School Matters prepared you for life after high school?
I feel like all of my lessons that I learned in After School Matters, from time management to definitely remember to give it your all with 100%, to discipline, responsibility, all of those things were instilled into my program. And not even just in my program, my instructor made sure to let me know that it's not just him, it's After School Matters in general. This is how you walk around. This is how you carry yourself. This is a place of professionalism. And I feel like that really prepared me and gave me the tools I needed to succeed while I'm here at my university. A lot of people, when I say that I did Forward Momentum, they think, oh, you must be a really, really good ballerina. Not even close. Don't get me wrong, I love dance and it's always been a part of my heart. However, there was so much more instilled in After School Matters as a whole, as well as my program, that dance was, of course, the best part, but there were so many lessons combined in it. And for me, I feel like I sit with more poise. I feel like I walk around knowing who I am. I am just way better and well-rounded, in a sense.
Both have great, inspiring stories. Thank you for sharing those with us. We do have some questions from our audience. I think these will be directed more towards Mary Ellen, but if you feel the urge to respond, Sierra or JJ, certainly jump right in.
Can I just, can I give you just point out Sierra and JJ? JJ participated in many different programs in After School Matters. And Sierra participated in the same program for 4 years. And so that's an option for our teens. Some teens get into music and say, I'd rather do technology. And so they move around. And then there's many teens who do what Sierra did, and that is found her love and stayed with it.
Very much so.
We have a couple of questions from our audience. One is from Eva. What volunteer opportunities are available for those of us who want to help?
If you go on our website, you can, it's afterschoolmatters.org. You can find volunteer opportunities. And also, if you leave your information in the chat, we can have someone contact you.
Excellent, thank you. How about, this is from Margaret Benson. Is there programming in the Edgebrook area on the Northwest side?
Close by, yes. And they are in a couple of schools that, again, if you go on our website, or if you have the teen that you're thinking about, go on our website, they can put in their address and the programs that are in their area will fall out for them.
Okay. How does a teen qualify to participate?
There's very many different ways that they qualify. Some are ready and able, which then the instructors actually do the enrolling of teenagers. And so, and in some cases they audition. For example, Sierra talked about auditioning at her high school for a dance program. And JJ certainly had to audition for some of his music programs. We have a jazz band, they audition. We also do interviews. And just one of my favorite days is interview day, because our teens come with their resume and dressed up, and they go through, look at JJ's face, they go through a regular job interview, which is a great thing. And the younger, the more fun it is for me. The 14-year-olds who come to interview for their After School Matters program is awesome.
So cool.
JJ, did you want to add anything?
No, I was just gonna say that I did exactly that. Like in 8th grade, I had like a little suit and tie, and I was just talking to my instructor, very professional. So it definitely reminded me of that.
I have another question here from Anne, who thanks you for the informative and valuable presentation, but then asked, once we are post-pandemic, can you speak to how you might leverage the technology and remote and/or hybrid platform presence into school to support your efforts for program expansion to include a higher number of students? I'm sure you've given that thought or that issue a lot of thought.
Oh, yes, and we're in the middle of it right now. However, for us, just expanding online doesn't necessarily cut our costs because we pay a stipend to every teen who participates. The one thing I will say is we're going to think about remote programming. So we may have a fantastic program at Gately that somebody in Belmont Cragen may want to join. And so we will think about having some programs be remote, maybe some being hybrid, and then, but we really want to get back to in-person and see our teenagers and let them see each other. And we've done a lot of talking to them and conferences with them. We've asked them how to tweak remote programming, and one young man raised his hand and said, I don't want any more tweaking, I want to go back in person. So I think if you're a teenager or a young adult, you're looking to get back to be with your friends and get on with your life.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Well, we're approaching the 1 o'clock hour. Let's just take maybe 2 more quick questions and then we'll turn it over to Father Cusick. How do we get a tour?
If you go online and send me an email, there's a CEO email. I can arrange that with you.
Okay. And what were some of the challenges when you were trying to form partnerships early on? Did you or Maggie ever dream of ASM becoming what it is today?
Well, I hope Maggie dreamed that ASM was going to be what it is today. I don't really know. I think I wasn't there, but well, I was there being friends with Maggie, but I think some of the hardest partnerships were helping people imagine letting teenagers take over a bike shop, or having teenagers come to a boys and girls club where it's traditionally been school-age children, and having their school-age children grow up into teenagers, and then figuring out spaces for them to be in that program. I think that was the partnership challenges at the time. There are still partnership challenges. Some of our partners have a really tough time raising funds, and so that's tough. Sierra talked about Pierre at Forward Momentum. He is a former Joffrey Ballet dancer, and his mission is to make sure that children, because he's got little kids in his program too, of color understand ballet and dance. And so he is constantly trying to increase his volume and raise more money. So that's another one of the challenges. While we're trying to raise money for After School Matters, we know the challenges of some of our CBOs, but Pierre is our heart, like it's Sierra's heart, and we want to keep working with him forever.
What great stories. I feel like the future is going to be a good one for all of us, with people like JJ and Sierra taking their place as leaders in our future. It's just wonderful and inspiring to hear about this story. And Mary Ellen, you are a Chicago treasure. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Roseanne, I just want to say that's really true. Our staff talked about the things that have happened since the pandemic began, with racial equity, and then the Capitol the other day, and all of these things. And there's a tendency to be hopeless. But I really want to say to everyone, if you met our teenagers and you got to be with them the way we are, you would have great hope for our future.
Your presentation has been just remarkable and so inspiring. So I'm going to turn the program back over to Father Cusick, who will bring us to a close. Thank you so much.
Mary Ellen, fabulous. It's an unbelievable program. I mean, to consider in the midst of a pandemic, you had 10,000 young people involved, and sadly, 10,000 who could not get involved.
Exactly.
Name something in terms of just quantity that is anything better than this. It's not there. You should be, you and your staff and all these people, the young people involved, should be so darn proud. You know, what a counterculture thing you're providing in the city. And I just think that's magnificent. And as one of the people said in the last hour, ASM, After School Matters, is seen as a safe place. And boy, do we need that. You know, when you look at the data and the statistics coming out about urban life these days, it's pretty terrifying. And here you've created for people, young people, when all their futures are ahead of them, a safe place to unleash their talent, nurture their skills, and give them the class they need to proceed in life. So I can't thank you enough, and everybody that's connected with After School Matters. So
Thanks, John.
I'm just so proud to have known you for so many years. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you, John. Right back at you.
All right, folks, we're gonna put the cork in the bottle here in just a second, but I want to let you know that next month we've got someone. I'm really fascinated that this gentleman is going to be with us. And my bet, if you're like me, a couple months ago, I didn't know who Richard Moore was. Richard Moore is an amazing story, doing some unbelievable things with his life. He was supposed to be with us at the Union League Club last April, but due to the pandemic, he lives in Derry in Northern Ireland. And with the pandemic that swept across the world, travel was shut down, all meetings were canceled. And obviously, Richard was not able to come into Chicago for a variety of things, one of which was the First Friday Club. So he's going to be with us through the Genius of Technology next month. And let me tell you, what's key about it, and make sure that you key into this. When Richard was a young boy, he was shot with a rubber bullet with the problems and the difficulties going on in Northern Ireland. He lived in the Catholic sector. The bullet took away his sight, and he'll be blind for the rest of his life. And he was shot by a British soldier. You could say, well, you can hang it up. That's what your life is going to be. Richard Moore has gone on to be friends with Dalai Lama, and he has gone on to create a charity called Children in Crossfire, where he brings all kinds of things, talents, skills, help to people in Africa to try to be a healing presence. And he will share with us the journey of his life, but more than that he's able to see what needs to be done. And seeing is not just always a physically visual thing. And he's written a book, it's called Can I Give Him My Eyes? And that was a line his father used when the doctors in the hospital came out to tell him that their son would never see again. And his father said, can I give him my eyes? Well, Richard, who is physically blind, has seen so many, many things and continues to see them. And he'll share that with us next month. And this will be an international happening. He is in Derry and we are wherever we are, and we'll connect through the Genius of Technology. So I ask you to look forward to that. That's February 5th. That's only 3 weeks away. And that'll be 12 noon. and we'll get the message and the word out to you. But for today, thank you ever so much. And I am just so thrilled with After School Matters. What an amazing, amazing program that Mary Ellen looks over into. Dr. Rosenthal, thank you for moderating this today. And for those of you who have keyed in, if this has been important to you, you may want to let people know, go to our YouTube channel, and there you'll be able to see this and be inspired like everybody else. JJ, you're a good man. Keep doing great things with your life. And Sierra, same thing. You're a testament that the future is hopeful, life is good, and we are about to make the possible real. Have a good day, folks. And again, Mary Ellen, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And let's keep pushing forward in 2021. God bless you all.